Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson with you. Thank you for joining us, and it's officially fall here at Fairfield County as we tape the show today. Football is right around the corner. High school's already started. High school football's already started. Really into the fall time of the year, and I've heard people say fall is their favorite time of the year, and I wouldn't totally disagree with that, but my caveat would be I like fall, but you know what follows fall, and that becomes the issue here in Ohio. So at least that's my theory on it. Let me see if my guest would agree with that. And he is the commandant, the main squeeze at the Salvation Army, Bryan DeMichael. Would you agree that fall is a wonderful time of the year, but there are things looming?
Of course, but I'll tell you, Paul, fall is my favorite.
It is.
You know, we've got football. I mean, that's that right there. Ohio State, Lancaster Gales football. I mean, football, you got to love it. But of course, you know, for us, the end of fall means that it's the busy season at the Salvation Army.
Things start picking up a good bit for you, and we're going to talk about that. Now, I was just thinking about the kid. What is your event called Fifth Quarter?
No.
Oh, I was thinking you had a kids event during football season.
We don't. We have our regular teen group, but because we're still pretty far away from where the high school is and space issues and things like that.
I got you.
We don't.
But it's that time of year, so we're glad for that. But really the thing I wanted to talk about, and something that really the last month or so is, I'm sure for a lot longer than that, has consumed a great deal of your time, is the future home of Salvation Army has been determined.
It has.
And where is that?
That future home is going to be on Slocum Avenue, right where the old Plaza Drive-In used to be. Not the whole site, but the section closest to Slocum Avenue there. And I wish I could say that it's only consumed me for the last month, but this has actually been a project we've been working on since 2016.
I was going to say, I can remember just lots of things going on. Hopes up, not going so well. Hopes up, not going so well. So now it looks like, and as we have that sign that says Future Home right there, it'll be a great location, and you'll have, I guess, mega room.
We'll have lots of room to be able to do what needs to be done.
And that's your issue now, isn't it?
That is one of our biggest problems with the existing building that we have. And we've been in that location on Hubert Avenue for 46 years now. And I will tell you, it seems hard to believe, and I will tell you that the Salvation Army has been in that building longer than I've been alive. That's a long time.
And it looks like it at times.
It does. You know, I mean, it has served us well.
Yes.
They picked a good location many years ago. We've been able to do a lot there on the south side, but we're getting to the point that we know that in order to continue serving, we've ran out of room in our existing building, and we know that to continue serving not just today but in the future, we're going to have to take some steps to be able to get that done. And so that's really where this was born out of. In addition, you know, we have some facility challenges, some structural challenges with the building that has caused us to say, all right, it would be better for us to move on from this site to something new.
And I've heard rumors that rain every now and then might be a factor over where you are
Just a little bit. I have PTSD from all of the water that flows into the basement of that building. You know, it's
when you're at home and it rains, I'm sure your mind is going.
Absolutely. Or if I look on the weather forecast that we're supposed to get 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain in Lancaster,
is that it?
I tell our maintenance crew, all right, let's get the stuff out. Let's be ready in case it happens. So, you know, having that basement in that floodplain area has been an issue for us for many, many years.
And I recently saw a picture of you and your wife wearing ponchos being deluged with water. So that wasn't at the Salvation
That was not.
Army?
No. That we actually chose for that while we were on vacation to stand underneath a waterfall at Niagara Falls. So
But it looked a lot like a day at Salvation
You better
Army.
believe it. You better believe it. I mean, we've had instances before where I've walked into the building and found 3 inches of water in my office. And you get to the point that the challenge that we face is that that's one of our big program spaces. And when you have major water in there, you have to extract all the water. You've got to get it dried out. And sometimes we would have to close a program or two because you could not use the program space. So, it's really looking at things like that we needed to move on. Now, I know some folks would say to me, Captain, you're just moving from one floodplain to another floodplain. But we are working right now with our architects and our engineers to make sure that at the new site that's not going to be an issue. We don't know exactly how we're going to solve it yet, but we're working on it. And the big difference is that this time we're going to be wise enough not to put a basement in.
Good call. I can remember, and I have connections, oddly enough, with both of your places. Where you are now, I used to live in the 800 block. I was born in the 800 block, and you really couldn't walk down there because after about the 600 block, they had it blocked off. There was nothing down there. Now, this has been 60 years ago, many years ago. There weren't any homes. They eventually built Talmadge School there, and things really grow on that. And as far as where you're going there, and again, I'm keenly happy that you're going to the west side. I'm a west sider. Yeah. We moved to the west side. I only lived about 3 blocks from where you're going. I used to walk down 7th Avenue, which is a little bit south of you, and I would stand there and look at the screen at the Plaza Drive, and you couldn't hear it, but I could see it. But what a great location! I think it's going to be just so good for the west side. There's a lot of need over there for, the Parks now is taking over General Sherman. You're doing this over there. They're both going to be great advantages. Now, as you move to the new location, I think of things you have the food program.
Yes.
You have blockers of freezers and coolers. You'll have all that. You have the daycare. You have your regular Salvation Army needs. Will everything just be a little bigger and better?
That's pretty much
is the hope.
Yeah, and as we look at some of the design ideas that we're working on right now, there'll be a lot of spaces from the old building that we just simply duplicate in size, but there will be other ones that will grow. We know, for example, the daycare, there's huge need for the daycare. We have a waiting list right now for the daycare, and I'll tell you, one of the biggest struggles we're having right now, just as a side note, is trying to find staff. We could bring more folks in, but we've got to find the staff to be able to do it.
And there are rules about that,
exactly.
Right? So many people for so many people.
Exactly. If you look at the daycare space legally, we have to have 60 square feet per person that's in that program. So really? Right now, our existing space allows us to have 30. Well, we're making provision in the new space that it can be 50 or 60.
Nice.
So it kind of gives you an idea there. With our teen program, prior to COVID hitting, our teen program was 60 and 70 kids a week. And, going into our existing spaces, we didn't have enough room for everyone. And so part of the design for the new building will be a gym space that will be large enough to accommodate things like that. A flexible space that, we can do mass feedings, that at Christmas time, instead of having to go somewhere else to do our toy distribution, we can do it from our own building. And really just giving that opportunity for more space, more flexibility. And even as you noted, the food pantry, we've served over the last few years, we've served about 45,000 meals out of our pantry that fits in an area about the size of this. Well, we can't grow any bigger than that because we can't keep the stuff on hand. This will enable us to be able to do things like that.
Now, will this building just be a much bigger footprint, or will you have a couple of stories? How do you envision? I know it's early on.
That we're still looking at.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out what that's going to be. We've had a couple of different ideas. One, we would prefer a flat one-story building that is very handicap accessible, that we don't have staff members having to lug things up and down stairs, because right now our food storage is in the basement. So whenever we get a large food truck in, stuff has to be carried downstairs.
Now's the time to replan that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's really looking at this and how can we do this the most effective way that's going to give the Salvation Army a facility that will last another 50 years on that property. We're looking at options in the design as to, okay, well, if we can't build everything we need at the beginning, that there's room on the site to expand, that the property is designed in such a way that we can effectively grow as the needs of the community grow.
Talking with Captain Bryan DeMichael, Salvation Army captain. We showed a picture earlier, future home of. We see where that's going right there on Slocum Avenue, right kind of butted up next to the gym or whatever that gymnastics place is. You'll be along right across the street from the other businesses there. We have another picture of you and the county commissioners, and they were very nice to the Salvation Army.
They were. The Fairfield County commissioners had some resources that came into the county through the American Rescue Plan. And so we were one of the organizations in the community that applied for some of those funds and were able to get some monies for our building project. So we extend our continued thanks to the Fairfield County Commissioners for the $500,000 that they awarded to this project. And I'll tell you, we were at a point where we needed some startup dollars to get architects' designs provided, and some of the things are going to be going together with the fundraising campaign for it. And the Lord knows what we need, and He provided, and we just continue to extend our sincere thanks to the county commissioners.
And you know, we don't know what the final bill will be on this. It'll probably be large, but when you say $500,000 is good startup money,
yes,
this is a major project.
This is a very large project. We're seeing some potential numbers right now that this could be between $6 and $7 million. Wow. Now, when we originally started looking at all of this many years ago, it was significantly less. Even prior to COVID, it was significantly less. Yeah. But as you know, building materials have gone up, construction costs have gone up. So we're still kind of ironing all those things out, trying to figure out what the sweet spot is going to be to be able to get the facility that we need and in line with the fundraising that we have.
And I know in some cases, maybe more toward housing than businesses, but business too, there are some places you can't even get an estimate yet, because what I could tell you today, even a month from now, might be nowhere near what we will actually be able to do it.
I have a project like that's being done on my house. We're having a bathroom fixed, and it's kind of the exact same thing. They're trying to get that. And I mean, as we continue to iron things out, I mean, the big challenge that we have is we don't have that firm set of design plans yet. Once we have that, then we'll be able to say for sure this is how much it's going to cost, and maybe do some negotiating and adjusting with building size and things like that. So,
well, that's the big news right now, I think, for the Salvation Army, is this wonderful new facility you're going to bring. It has to be so exciting. How many years have you been here?
I just started year 9.
So in let's say a couple years or 2 or 3 years, however long that be, it'll be amazing to see a new place there, right?
Yes, I mean, and that's been something that Laura and I have seen since we got here.
Sure.
We understood that the building was too small.
It was too small when you came.
It was too small when we came here, and we just made it worse. I remember walking through the building with my predecessor, and in one of the upper rooms I saw a large crack. Very large crack, and I looked at it and said, "Oh my goodness, how long has that been here?" And he had said, "I didn't even notice it." I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" So I mean, we understood right from the start that there were issues that needed to be resolved, and so it's been a long process, but we're glad to be where we are right now.
Got a minute left. Here we are, late August, 1st of September, but Christmas right around the corner, Captain. We could have the bell out here thinking it's getting showtime.
Don't do that to me. Not yet. Not yet. No. But yes, Christmas is right around the corner. We're hoping here soon to have our volunteer sign-ups for the kettles available.
Sure.
We'll be taking applications in the next few weeks for the Christmas assistance for the families. And we're still working on some of the details for our Red Kettle Kickoff. It is back this year.
Okay.
And we're excited. That'll probably be that third week of November, that week before Thanksgiving. So stay tuned to that one, because we've got some fun and exciting things coming.
We'll watch for that. Captain DeMichael with the Salvation Army. Again, thanks for what will be a beautiful new facility on the west side. I think it's going to be just obviously a boon to you, but it will be to that whole area. So good luck on that. We hope everything goes smoothly.
Thank you.
Captain Bryan DeMichael with the Salvation Army. We'll be back on Fairfield Today in just a moment.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
I want a doctor who listens to me.
From primary care to specialty medicine, we put your needs first by treating you like a person, not a number. Our primary care team will help you identify your healthcare needs and set goals for success, regardless of where you are in your wellness journey. We care for patients of all ages, with offices that are close to you. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Appreciate Captain Bryan DeMichael being with us and giving us a great update on just a wonderful organization here in Lancaster and Fairfield County, the Salvation Army. We have lots of great charities, lots of great nonprofits that go, but I would put them in the team photo of the really good ones. They are a great group, and it's just so exciting that they're going to be able to build on the west side over there in the old Plaza Drive-In. We're excited about that. Second part of our show today is we're going to talk about the arts a little bit. Always enjoying that, and actually it's a new part of the arts that we haven't talked about. It's called Rise Up Alliance. Many may not know what that is, but we're going to find out all we need to know about Rise Up Alliance with the executive director today, Judith Cosgray. Judith, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You are the executive director of Rise Up Alliance, and I looked at your website. It's a nice website, very interactive. You can see things, gets a lot of questions answered. But I guess the alliance part is you're kind of a consortium where you bring different kind of arts and things together in one group. Would that be fair?
Yes, and it came out of the idea of, since I've been in libraries for 20 years, we focus so much on consortiums, and when we found the need in the community to bring several groups together, it just made sense to make it into a consortium.
So what arts do you deal with? I know you deal with, say, plays, because we'll talk about that in a little bit, writing.
Yes.
So you have a section for writers, children's plays, which would be, say, separate from the regular plays.
Yes.
Other kinds of artsy things?
Yes, we also have the Snapshots Photography Club, and that came about with some community members wanting to just get together to go take pictures, and then we realized taking pictures on stage during a show is very difficult, and it requires a special skill set. So
you mean taking pictures of a play while
Yes.
it's going on? Okay.
Yes, so
Okay.
it's very hard to find good photographers for productions.
I bet.
So that is another way that we're getting some more trained individuals into the community that can help out with everybody. And then we have the Costumers Guild, which the only one that was in Central Ohio disbanded about 5 years ago. So we're the only nonprofit Costumers Guild in Central Ohio right now.
And I thought everybody was an excellent photographer because I see nothing but iPhone pictures around. Everybody now believes they are a photographer, but actually it's a little level above that.
It is a level above that.
They actually have cameras.
Yes, and we don't discount those iPhone pictures, but
Sure.
really dealing with the lighting issues and the action shots are really difficult.
So this is really for people who maybe already take pictures but want to learn more about it, and maybe specific, let's say, to how you take a good photo on a play, how
Right.
you could do that without being intrusive, without it getting a bad picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have many members in that group?
Oh, it fluctuates. It just depends on the season.
Okay.
But it's very fluid, so there's no membership fee for it. We just get together.
And this is Lancaster and Fairfield County,
Yes.
or inclusive
Yep.
of that?
Yes.
Okay. And we talked a little bit earlier about one of the areas that you deal with is plays, and you actually have one coming up here in, 2 weeks or so?
Yes.
September 23?
Yep, 23rd, 24th, and 25th.
And that's going to be out at the Lancaster Campground in that beautiful Davis Auditorium out
Yes.
there. If you can fill that up, you've done a lot right there. But that is
Yeah.
one of the really, I think, unheralded places in Lancaster and Fairfield County.
It
Many
is.
people don't even know about it, and if they do, maybe they haven't seen it since it's been renovated now. The stage has all been redone. I mean, everything outside in terms of the bleachers and where everybody sits, the posts and everything. It's really a nice facility.
And the campground has been fantastic in their
Nice.
help. They started last year, giving us our first location to do our first show after the pandemic, and they have been such a great partner, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without their help.
So the one coming up here in a couple of weeks is Anne of Green Gables?
Yes, the Anne of
Okay.
Green Gables, I think every
Classic.
middle schooler has read Anne of Green Gables, and it's a musical, and it has 22 students and about 10 adults in it. So it's going to be a great show. I just love the kids.
So you obviously, and we'll talk about what you've got going on later in the year in December, but for this one, then you held auditions, you had people, during this time as we're kind of post-COVID, kind of coming out of things, any problem getting people to audition, getting people to be interested in this?
Actually, no. I
Really?
usually have far more audition than what are named individuals in the
Well, that's
play or
probably a good
musical.
problem to
It is,
have.
but we do
Sure.
not turn anyone away.
Sure.
So everyone is cast in some capacity because there's no way for them to move on, become better actors if they aren't involved in some way. So we make sure that everybody has a place when we do a show.
Now, do you have sets behind that look like whatever situation was going to be?
Yes, we do.
Do you do all those? I mean, does your group do all those themselves? Is that right?
We put them all together, and because we don't have a home base, a facility that's our own, everything that we have to do is made flexible and easy to transport and easy to move. So that's the challenge, is making it look like a really nice set with something that has to be movable and easily taken apart.
Now, will you do this play at any other location, or will this be your only location?
This is the only location for Anne.
Okay, now tell us about that. It's going to be what day? September?
September 23rd, 24th, and 25th.
Is that Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. And what time?
Friday and Saturday is our 7 p.m. show. Saturday we have a 2 p.m. show.
Okay.
And Sunday is a 4 p.m. show.
Okay. And it's all out at the Lancaster Campground, West Fair Avenue. I think it's 2151
Yes,
West
21.
Fair.
Yep.
Great place out there. But the Davis Auditorium, is there an admission price?
It's $12 for adults, $8 for seniors, and $6 for students.
It's worth the price of admission. Obviously, you get to see a great play, and that itself is worth the money. But to see, if you haven't seen Davis Auditorium, again, you're very fortunate to have a nice location like that to be in. Huge facility.
And I have a soft spot for historic buildings anyway.
Oh.
And I remember when it was falling apart and they were not sure that they were going to save it, but they were able to save it, and we are so glad to be able to be in there and showcase what you can do in that beautiful space.
Well, it was like you say, I think it was very close at some point once they discovered that things were cracking in the outside, and that, it was that big. It was, I think, the biggest one that didn't have posts in the middle.
Yes.
And that became the issue. They had to redo that a little bit,
They
but
did.
still, there's so many great seats in there, and they brought that back. It's a wonderful place to have this. And I want to give a plug to my friend Scott Gottliebson, who
Yes.
probably has one of the leads.
Yes, he plays Matthew Cuthbert.
Well, he is truly a gifted thespian. He loves to be in plays. He's done it. I known him, I bet you, a decade, maybe longer than that, maybe 15, 20 years. But he has always loved doing that. So he'll add a lot of richness and to do that. So now that's the September play coming up, and you've already have plans for a December play.
Yes, we're doing A Christmas Carol, which is an elementary only version, which you don't see too many of those, but it's a way to get the kids involved with, a Christmas classic, and they get to perform at the mall. So we will be doing all of our rehearsals and the performance at the River Valley Mall.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. So obviously a lot of children needed
Yes.
for this. Will they do the ghosts and everything will be
Yes.
100%?
There are 28 parts in that
Oh,
show,
my.
so there's plenty
Not
of
a
room.
musical.
Yeah, well, there is music in between the scenes.
Okay.
So they will be singing traditional Christmas carols of the era.
Okay.
So, because the Victorian era is when all of the Christmas carols really came about and were very popular. So we just intertwine those in with the story.
And what age children do you think you'll be interested in to do that?
Kindergarten through 6th grade.
Nice.
And most of the time when we do shows like that, we break it into 2 casts, so cast A and cast B. And that way, if there is anyone that ends up needing to drop out or they're sick or something like that, you can easily swap characters from each cast. Plus, it also gives more children a chance to have a meaningful role. So that way, you can have a lesser role in one, an ensemble role in one cast, and a speaking part in the other. And that way, it works out for everybody.
That'd be great. That'd just double the people and get them really involved.
Yes, and that's what we really want, is to get the kids involved because of all of the educational benefits to being in a production. People don't realize that when you are involved in the arts, especially with middle and high school students, their SAT scores can go up as much as 150 points. So,
Really beneficial.
Yes, so there's all these different skills that you learn working on a production that you don't usually get in other types of entertainment.
So this will be in December. Now, where do you practice? Where do you hold your practices for that?
It will be in one of the empty storefronts.
At the mall. Okay,
Yes.
so you'd be out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, and this time when we're at the campground, they are gracious enough to give us plenty of rehearsal space at the campground. And then other shows, we've done one at the Masonic Lodge, so we can rehearse there. And then St. John's Episcopal, they also have given us
Nice.
rehearsal space. So everyone has been so generous with their facilities.
And it's nice to see a lot of theater things happening here. We've got a couple groups, the Garrett Players and the Lancaster Playhouse, plus Victor Jones out of Ohio University. I mean, we've got, and now one that may be geared, that would certainly be inclusive of a lot of young people. It's good if you have an interest in that. There are ways to go now.
Yeah, and children are really, that is my passion. I have been in libraries for 20
That's
years.
the librarian in you coming
and
out.
My degree is in children's librarianship in public libraries. So I'm really focused on that educational component to what we do, rather than, it's more the process than the product. We want the children to learn through the process, and then the icing on the cake is the production.
Sure.
Yeah.
Judith Cosgray is my guest. She is Executive Director of Rise Up Alliance, and your website is Rise Up Alliance.
RiseUpArtsAlliance.org.
RiseUpArtsAlliance.org.
Yes.
Okay. It's a good website. A lot of good information on there. Again, very interactive. You can get a lot of questions answered. We'll be talking a lot about Anne of Green Gables coming up. And,
Yes.
and where can tickets be gotten for that?
They are available at the door, and they are
Okay.
available on the website.
On the website, so you can
Yes.
actually get them on the website.
Yes.
Well, that's great to be able
Yep.
to do that. And then as far as the December Christmas Carol coming up, when did you say auditions will be?
Auditions are October 1st
Okay.
from 11 to 3 at the mall.
And that information will be on the website, or
Yes.
maybe it already is on the website.
Mhm, it is
might
on
be
the
on there.
website.
And then the actual play will be December.
9, 10, and 11, and it will be in the old theater space. It was ex-church for a while. It will be in that space.
Nice.
So.
That'll be. Is that where the movie theater?
It's where the movie theater
Okay,
used
down
to
at
be.
the end
Yep.
of that end of the mall out there.
Yeah.
Well, again, you've got a couple nice facilities that you
Yeah.
have for your usage here. I mean, large spaces. That'll be great.
We're very grateful for the use of the spaces. So.
Well, it's a great organization. Again, bringing up so many different areas and kind of bringing them into one. This consortium thing, I think, just makes so much sense. I mean, everybody that may want to know about cameras or about kids maybe getting their children into theaters, or adults being involved in this, or writing. We didn't talk much about the creative writing, but you have certainly an area for that now.
Yep, and that one involves, right now it's teens and adults, but we're looking to do some younger set where they get to develop their own script and then perform it as well. So our group works on scripts, manuscripts, poetry, all of that.
Well, it's a great group, Rise Up Alliance. Look them up. You can put them in your search engine and find them. They've got a good website. September 23rd, Anne of Green Gables, out at the Lancaster Campground. It'll be certainly worth seeing and supporting the arts here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. Judith, thank you for joining us. We've enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.